March, April, May, Luna Cub. What do they have in common? The astute ones out there will immediately realize that I just tried to list out a couple months, but seem to have forgotten what came after May. However, the gotcha enjoyers of the world will sense 4 heads that need to be patted. Besides that though, why those 4 in particular? Well, they're snipers, a class whose role is to take out enemies at a range. I mean, look at March over there. Look at her dealing damage? That's weird. Well, how about May? Nice. Now that's a good sniper right there. So, how about the other 2? Surely they couldn't fall up such an easy act, right? Wait, is that even allowed? So what is camouflage exactly? Well, as the name suggests, the units under this effect cannot be targeted when they are not blocking enemies. However, they can still take damage from splash attacks and hazards such as the poison haze from H5-3. Camouflage itself can be undone by enemies such as the technical scout who emit an AoE field around them that reveals both camouflage and invisible operators. That may seem like a big deal until you realize that there is quite literally a single non-event stage where those guys appear in. So does this make April and Luna Cub insanely broken since there's no consistent counter to them? Well, no. In fact, I go as far as to say that they're just kinda okay, I guess. With that being said though, does this make them bad operators? Well, let's find out. Camouflage snipers come with 3 main benefits. Firstly, they are able to snipe down threats without needing to worry about the shenanigans that the enemy might pull on you. Being a sniper can also be a positive as it allows them to take out aerial units, something that grounded assassins like Phantom and Scotty can only dream of doing. Though the most impressive aspect of camo snipers is their ability to maintain a high cuteness value while flying under the radar of April is a traditional assassin where she is meant to be deployed, take out the enemy, retreat, then repeat the cycle. In fact, it's so on the nose that it rivals my routine of waking up at 4 AM every day just to farm the funny rock stage. But unlike my 23-hour cooldown, April only needs a mere 32 seconds. This, paired with a 100% attack boost and camouflage on deployment, allows her to deal with multiple waves of pesky enemies or even do a sizable chunk to low defense bosses. With that being said though, there are 2 things that you should consider. And no, one of them isn't the fact that I'm reminded of a certain character from another gacha game every time I see her E2 art. The actual thing to consider is that even though being a sniper allows her to hit drones, operators of the marksman sniper class always attack the enemy closest to the blue box if no aerial enemies are present. This means that in a stage like H6-4, the hordes of enemies block April from breaking into their ranks. Much like how I was denied access from the Arknights Pro Club after I showed them my CC7 medal set. But unlike my permanent account damage, April's sniper flaw isn't the end of the world. I mean, you can just use Tex's Alter to take out the surrounding enemies. And, well, even the spiders and casters. But that's only one scenario. I'm sure her 18-second redeployment time coupled with full arts AoE, skills that can activate twice, and a skill 3 that not only hits air but also stuns, won't knock April out of usability, right? Well, the way I like to look at April, besides respectfully of course, is that she's good in her niche, good for general use as a burst option, but never a go-to option. But in those cases, either Texas is more than enough to clear the stage, or the stage is hard enough where squad space or DP is an issue. So this means don't build April? Well, we'll get back to that after Luna Cub. Luna Cub is similar to April where she utilizes camouflage to take out enemies. But instead of being a burst and retreat option, Luna Cub is more of a permanent turret due to her talent granting her permanent camo until she activates her skill. This is great for aggressive positioning, where other snipers in her place will just explode. If we look at general use, sure, she might not have immediate killing power like April, but she does have the benefit of being a Deadeye sniper, which besides being a nickname I give myself during my angsty teen days, is great at focusing down the target with the lowest defense in her range. This synergizes well with her skill 2, which also grants her an attack speed buff to ensure that she gets the kill to stack her camouflage. The main thing to consider with Luna Cub is that, like April, Texas haunts them in their nightmares. But unlike April, Luna Cub's role outside of being an assassin isn't as applicable to most stages. Pre-module, her reliance on normal attacks is the main culprit. This is due to a horrible skill uptime, where her downtime can accommodate 2 whole Texas Alter cycles. Even with the module that grants her 1 SP per non-killing attack though, the lack of a damage increase means that she's further limited to enemies with lower defenses. However, that is less of a concern when you're a Deadeye sniper, but that in itself has some drawbacks, as for some reason her main targets don't always have the lowest defenses, which makes Luna Cub target trash mobs instead. There is one major positive however, and it's that she's tied with 2 other operators for the highest stat in this category. The category being a skill summary byproduct rate of plus 8%. Truthfully, you don't need either unit, but that's not a fun conclusion to settle on, so I'll be discussing who should build these operators. First and foremost, if you like unique operators, just go ahead and build them both. Not only are they part of a very small list of operators with camouflage or invisibility, but one of them is a fast redeploy sniper, while the other decided that being targeted is for suckers. As for newer players, neither of them would be a priority E2, as they're more complementary pieces that go alongside your main carries, whether that be a Blaze or a Thorns or even a Texas Alter, who's not only a carry gameplay wise, but also a carry in the sense that she's on my short but growing list of characters I'd let Princess carry me. As for everyone else, April is a very good and inexpensive option. If you have Texas Alter, she can be skipped, but building her won't leave you with any regrets, as operators with high mobility are always welcomed. If you don't have Texas Alter though, then getting April to even E1 would provide more operator coverage for basically nothing. As for Luna Cub, unless you somehow know that you'll never get another sniper outside of Cruz, I'd avoid raising her. There are just much better options out there, whether that be a consistent sniper like Blue Poison, a Mei for slows, or even Firewatch who sacrifices invisibility uptime for much better damage. This doesn't even take into account if you have both Texas Alter and April, who pretty much cover all the situations that Luna Cub can be used in. So I'd recommend only building Luna Cub if you're absolutely smitten with Camouflage. Speaking of Camouflage, there is something important about it that even the game doesn't directly tell us. I've tossed the terms invisibility around with Camouflage. That means they're the same, right? Or similar at least? Well, in terms of how enemies target them, they're identical. But as for what can actually hit them in those states? Oh boy. But considering that the operators with those abilities aren't even used a whole lot in the first place, any differences beyond service level can just be ignored. I mean, who'd be crazy enough to make a video going over the most niche and frankly useless topic in Arknights?